Welcome to Table Bible Studies with Dan and Ben. New studies are posted every Thursday. We're currently studying the life of Abraham. We resume our study in Genesis chapter 18 and join Dennis and Benedicta as they learn about three visitors with a special message for Abraham and Sarah.
Well, here we go again with
go.
another study of Abraham. Now, keep in mind that the previous chapter was 17, and from 16 to 17, there was a period of 13 years where nothing much happened. But from 17 to 18, where God's going to appear again to Abraham, it's only like a month or two. It's almost no time at all. God's going to show up again and continue to speak to Abraham, saying, you're going to have a son. You and Sarah are going to have a son. So let's read about it. It says in verse 1, Then the Lord appeared to him, Abraham, by the terebinth trees of Mamre as he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. Notice the word Lord at the beginning. The Lord, capital L-O-R-D, all letters capitalized. That means Yahweh, the God of Israel. Right, so that's different from capital L, small o, small r, small d. That just means boss. But when you see it all capitalized, it means Yahweh, the Lord, the God of Israel. Wow. God appeared to him, the Lord appeared to him as he's sitting in his tent door in the heat of the day. Kind of like that. He's chilling out.
Yeah.
You know, he's even for the patriarchs, as important as Abraham was, they had their chill out time where just not much is going on. He's just sitting in his tent. And it's hot. He doesn't feel like getting out and doing too much. Sitting in the shade and just taking it easy.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to take it easy once in a while, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to take it easy. It's like what we do in Africa, especially when there is no electricity.
Yeah.
And even when there is electricity and the heat is too much, during the day, even the fan that is blowing is going to be blowing heat on you. So what we do is to come out.
Okay.
And either you sit by the tree, under the tree, or you sit by the, house corridor, and then you take fresh air that is outside.
I have to say, I kind of envy Abraham. I am so busy with making videos and studying the Bible and doing the Beat Diabetes videos and all the writings that I do. I don't have much downtime where I can just chill out. And I can almost be envious of Abraham to just sit down and just chill out.
Well, somebody had to rest sometimes. Yeah. When you work from morning till evening, you can rest.
So he takes it easy. He's sitting in his tent. It's apparently a hot day. It says he lifted up his eyes, verse 2, chapter 18 of Genesis. He looked and behold, three men. Now, notice the word men, but we're going to find out that none of them are really, truly men. Two of them are angels. Sometimes angels are referred to as men, and one of them is the Lord himself. So this is a big deal. God is showing up at Abraham's house, or his tent, you might say. And it says, three men standing by him. When he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the ground, bowed himself to the ground and said, my Lord. Now this is the lowercase Lord. So, boss, my Lord, if I've now found favor in your sight, don't pass on by your servant. Please let a little water be brought and wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree. He says, I'll bring you a morsel of bread that you may refresh your hearts. After that, you may pass by inasmuch as you have come to your servant. The word for this is hospitality. We don't know for sure whether he really gets it that these are divine beings and that one of them is the Lord himself, or whether he just thinks these are three passing strangers. But in any case, he's hospitable. Some people, they just don't trust anybody. He's like, what are you doing on my property? Get out of here, fella. But he's like, let me feed you. Let me prepare a meal for you. And, you might think as holy as these are, two angels and apparently Jesus himself, they would be too holy to take time to relax and kick back and have a meal with Abraham, but they're not. They're ready to do that. So kind of cool. He says, I want to bring you some water. We'll fix you some food, and just stay here for a while. And they say, do as you have said. So, yeah, that sounds good to us.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like that part where he says, if I have found favor in your sight.
Yeah.
So I think God must have showed up this way before that we didn't record, for him to recognize them immediately.
Well,
that is number one. And then, for him to say, if I have found favor, maybe God have really told him, you have found favor in my sight.
Yeah.
And then it's like bringing it back to God. If I have found favor in your sight, do not pass me by. Just, come in.
Hang around for a while.
Hang around for a while. Who wouldn't do that if you recognize them?
Of course, I've never had experiences like this, but I have had times where the Holy Spirit was moving on me powerfully. And what I want is for him to hang around for a while.
Yes.
It's like, I don't want you to just lighten up just yet. Let me just enjoy you for a while.
I know.
So they say, yeah, okay, do as you have said. Verse 6, Abraham hurried to the tent to Sarah. Now, a lot of people would have a problem with this because this is a typical male-female ancient times relationship. He's the husband and she's the wife and the cook.
Yeah.
So he doesn't say, well, let me fix it. He goes to his wife and says, will you please fix us a meal?
Right.
He says, make ready 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, make cakes. Now, keep in mind, there were no microwaves in those days. There was no quick mix that you could make in a few minutes.
Yeah.
You're talking about
oven.
making cakes. You're talking about it like a stone oven of some kind or a fire that you put something over. And we're talking about some time involved here. This is not just some quick 2-minute deal.
Which means they spent a lot of time with Abraham.
Exactly.
What were they talking about?
That's what, as I was studying this, that's exactly what I thought, for him to do. Now, let's just go on with what else he is going to fix for them, and then we'll talk about this. He tells one of his servants, he gives him a calf, and he tells him to prepare it. So they're not only going to do that, they're going to kill that calf and make steaks and cook them over the fire.
Yes.
And then also butter and milk. And so they're making a major meal.
Major meal, yeah.
Like you said, this is not something you can do quickly. It's going to take some time. I would guess a couple of hours.
It's not easy to cook a cow, or not a cow, cook a calf.
Yeah, well, it was a calf. It was a small cow.
No, whether small or big, it takes amount of time.
Got to kill it first.
Yeah, and you have to skin it, and you have to cut it up. You have to cook it, and if you have enough firewood, it will go faster. But if you just scramble here and there to get firewood, it's gonna take a lot of time.
Yeah.
But since they have servants,
yeah,
I think it went a little faster.
Well, and again, the thing that comes to my mind is what you said earlier, which is what did they talk about there?
What were they really talking about?
We're probably looking at close to 2 hours time.
More than that.
And so they're sitting around. Well, you're not just sitting there with your hands folded and staring at each other. Nobody's talking. He's probably saying, well, how was your journey and what have you been up to? I don't know. We're left in a mystery as to what do you say to the Lord God Almighty who's just shown up at your house?
Yeah, right. We're talking yakri, or did you just let them sit there? I wouldn't let them sit, doing nothing and saying nothing.
Yeah, no, you couldn't do that.
No.
Any human being is going to try to make conversation.
Yeah, no.
If for no other reason, just out of, you don't want to be embarrassed to just sit there in silence for 2 hours while everybody's making the food.
Right.
Now, maybe the Lord was asking him some questions. Maybe the Lord, because what could God really say? Well, I've been in heaven with my angels and, been doing this and that. Maybe God was saying, well, how's it going with you? And Abraham's telling him some things, and God's at, a good person, a good conversationalist knows how to ask questions and get people talking. If I had to guess, and of course it's only a guess, but I would guess the Lord asked him some questions and got him talking because God probably was hesitant to reveal too much about what he had been doing. But one way or the other, what a thrill to sit around with God and a couple of angels for a couple of hours while food is being prepared. Boy, I treasure that. If that ever happened to me, which I know it won't, but if it ever did, I'd treasure that the rest of my life. I'd think back, and I'd be telling people, you wouldn't believe what happened to me 10 years ago.
I know.
God showed up at my door with 2 angels, and they came in, and I told my wife to make a meal. We sat around for 2 hours talking. I mean, that would be awesome.
Every wife will want to cook this food. If you be like, you don't know how to cook, no, you're going to learn because sitting in your living room are the angels and the Lord himself. Yeah. So what are you doing? Go and start scramble things and call for help. Abby?
And if I really knew it was the Lord and 2 angels, I'd tell my servant or my wife, just take your time. I want some good time to talk here.
Right,
No rush here. They make the meal, and then they ask him a question. It says, they said to him, "Where is Sarah, your wife?" Now, notice they don't call her Sarai. She's just had a name change not long ago because she's not even pregnant yet. And they said within a year, she'll have a baby. So this has to be within that 3-month gap between when God appeared the last time and when she gets pregnant. Right. So where's Sarah, your wife? They call her by the new name. And he says, well, she's here in the tent. This, again, a patriarchal society where women didn't always come out and involve themselves with men's business. And so she's hanging out in the tent, but she's listening carefully, as we're going to find out.
Yes.
Because she's like all wives. They want to know what their husband is up to and what's going on.
If we're in trouble, are we in trouble? These are strange people in our house. What is going on? I want to hear it.
Yeah. So she's in the tent listening. He says so. So then it says, he said, we assume this means the Lord, I will certainly return to you according to the time of life. And behold, Sarah, your wife, shall have a son. So not just a baby, but a son. It says Sarah was listening in the tent door, which was behind him. Now, Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in age. So we learned from the last time, he's like 99 or close to 100. She's around 90. Or 89. These are not youngsters. Sarah had passed the age of childbearing. Therefore, Sarah laughed within herself. So she's past menopause. She's no longer able to have a child. And the Lord tells Abraham, your wife, Sarah, is going to have a child, going to have a son. And it says, verse 12, therefore, Sarah laughed within herself. Doesn't give you the idea that she laughed out loud. When we normally say laughed within yourself, it means you kind of chuckled on the inside.
Yeah.
But God noticed. He notices everything, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Either she laughed out loud or she laughed in her mind, whether inside her, be like, or outside like, that kind of, God will know.
Or the way we would say it, yeah, right,
how can this be, and
Thanks for watching our study of the greatest book ever written, the Bible. In addition to these Bible studies with Ben and me, I also share what I call video devos, which are short teachings I give on various Bible topics. These teachings are normally, but not always, posted on Mondays. Be sure and click the subscribe button and then click that bell icon and choose Show All Notifications. That way you'll be notified every time we post a new video. And if you're struggling with diabetes, check out my other channel, which is called Beat Diabetes. God bless you, and see you again soon.